Hello and welcome back to the another episode of Daily News Quiz Analysis for IAS Prelims 2025. It is 20th December today, and in this video we are going to solve different types of questions which are very much relevant for your preparation. Before we will start discussing these questions, I would like to give you the brief introduction about the video so that you will get more connected with it if you are the first time visitor of this channel. Every day we try to upload this video on our YouTube channel and we try to discuss various types of questions in it, and if we will break those questions, they would come under three parts. In the first part of our discussion, we discuss the questions related to the current affairs. What we do? We take up the most important articles from the newspapers, we break them down into the simplest language possible, and we derive the prelims based questions from those articles so that it will give the idea how the questions can be asked from these particular news topics, what are the possible questions that can be asked, and what part of the news, how you should read the newspaper with respect to your prelims preparation. This is what we discuss in the first part of our discussion. So after discussing the questions with respect to the current affairs, we take up the another part of our discussion where we discuss questions with respect to the static topic. What we do? Every day we try to discuss a static topic here. Right now we had started with Indian polity, and in Indian polity we are discussing DPSPs. So what will we do? We'll take a topic from the DPSP, we'll discuss that, we'll derive a prelims based question from that, and it will give you the idea. Even though the article may seem very small, very much not that important, but still UPSC can ask a question from that particular article. So the idea is to prepare you well before the exam, to prepare you well for everything which can be asked to you. So this is the another set of questions which we discuss here. After discussing questions with respect to the current affairs, the static part, we shift our approach towards the last part of our discussion where we discuss directly few previous year questions. What we do, we take up a previous year question, we discuss that, we try to find out what are the ways and methods by which we can solve a question in the exam hall, what is the vocabulary which the UPSC uses, and what can be the how we can implement this knowledge in the upcoming exam which we get from these questions. So this is in a nutshell about our video, what we do here, what we are going to do here, what we are going to discuss here. Now before we will start discussing, I would like to request you guys a few things which I believe is very much important for you. First of all, if I was at your place, if I was the student, if I was preparing for UPSC next year, what I will do? I would every day try to note down these questions. I will try to keep the question bank of mine. I will try to make the question bank of mine, and when the exams would be near, I'm talking about the month of May, when you reach the month of May, and you would at that time you would want to revise everything. You would want to go through the current affairs, you would want to go through the static part, you would want to discuss the previous year questions. But trust me, time does not permit you, because time is very much limited. You are left with only few days, maximum 20 to 25 days. So what will you do? This desire is in you that you want to go through everything, you feel uncomfortable. So what will you do at that time? At that time, if you have these questions with you, you would just go through these questions. These questions would definitely connect you with the current affairs, they will connect you with the static part, they will also give you the analysis of previous year questions, and in a nutshell they will boost your confidence before entering the exam hall. And trust me, confidence plays a huge role in your in your cracking of any exam. If you are not confident before entering the exam hall, it is disastrous for you. So this will boost your confidence, and also who knows, as we are taking the questions from the same sources from where the UPSC is going to ask you. So who knows, maybe many questions can coincide or many statements can coincide. So with this, I would like to request you guys, please do note down these questions. And after this, I would like to request you again, guys, please do subscribe the channel, share it with your friends so that they may also get benefited from this initiative. And do write in the comments what do you feel about the video. If you like it, please do write in the comments. If we are not that good anywhere, please criticize us if the criticism is due, but be little respectful in that. So with this, let's have a look at the first question which we are going to discuss here. Here, the first question which we had brought here is about the relationship between India, South Korea. So question basically asks us consider the following statements regarding India-South Korea relationship. If you would have read today's newspaper, there was no such thing in the newspaper which discussed about India's relationship with South Korea. But in fact, there was an article with respect to this South Korea. So coming to the article itself, coming to the news itself, why we had brought this question, because we had seen a political turmoil in South Korea. We had seen the political crisis in South Korea, and it is our duty, being an UPSC aspirant, we need to know everything about it. Maybe you will reach into your interviews there, they may ask you a question regarding this, regarding your information with what is happening in the world. So for that sake, I would like to give you a little info which is very much relevant to you, which shows the powers of the democracy and at the same time how democracy can be misleading. you know if to understand it, as their names are very much difficult to understand, I would prefer to use the initials of their words. Suppose there are two men in the South Korea, namely Y, he is the person, and there is another man, his name is M. This M, he is the president, he was the president. How this situation all started, he was the president there. And this Y, he was the uh, prosecutor general, he was the prosecutor general. And this Y was appointed by whom? He was appointed by M. And at that time, this president, he belonged to which party? He belonged to the party. Democracy plays a huge role in countries political situation. He belonged to the Democratic Party of the South Korea. He belonged to the Democratic Party of the South Korea. And which party is very much the party which is opposite to the Democratic Party is PPP. That is another party which is always in opposition to Democratic Party. So about these two parties, I would like to mention one thing here. This Democratic Party, it is a liberal party, and this party, it is conservative, a kind of. So there is a lot of difference between these two parties. Now coming back to our main situation, what led to this political turmoil in South Korea. So this M, he appointed a prosecutor general, namely Y, for example. Remember this. Now if we will see more about it, but then a time came when this M, there was a need for the minister to be appointed, minister of law to be appointed. So he appointed a man, namely Mr. Chow. He appointed him as the law minister. And but unfortunately, as Mr. Chow was appointed the law minister, this Y person, the prosecutor general, he did not like him, and he went to the courts. And because of this person, because of this Y, because of this prosecutor general, this Mr. Chow, who was the law minister appointed by M, he was removed from his office, and this led to the problems between Y and M. At the same time, as M belonged to the political party, he belonged to the Democratic Party. The Triple P party, the the Conservative Party, was watching the scene, and they found one thing, that this Y can be very much useful for them, and they approached him. And by the help of this political party, he became the president of. There was an election. He went for the presidential elections, and he won by a slight margin against M. So this person became the president. But here now another thing comes about this about the democratic, and if as we are talking here about the democratic party and the liberal party, this Democratic Party, we have to see their alignment with respect to the countries. If we talk about the Democratic Party in South Korea, they are very much aligned towards USA. They are very much aligned towards USA. First of all, their approach, Democratic Party, they want they are aligned towards USA. They but the USA should be involved in their political, in their in their government as minimum as possible. They like USA, but not that much that they will interfere in their political matters. So they want it to be autonomous. This liberal party, they like USA, but they want it to be autonomous. And at the same time, their relationship with Japan is not that good. Their relationship with Japan is not that good. So they don't like Japan that much. Third point about the Democratic Party here, which you should know, that if they will ask you in your interviews. Third thing about the Democratic Party, which you should know, that they want a friendly relationship with South Korea. North Korea, sorry. They want friendly relation with North Korea. And in respect to the in respect to the Conservative Party, they want USA to fully interfere in their political matters. They won't care if USA will frame their political, framework, frame their foreign relationships, foreign policy. They won't have any problem with that. I'm talking about conservatives now. And second, they like Japan very much with respect to the Democratic Party, as Democratic Party does not like Japan. And third thing, they want war with North Korea. They don't like North Korea at all, and they believe that the only thing which they like is they like North Korea. So this is the situation here politically, how different they are, how different is Democratic Party and the Conservative there. Now coming to back to our problem, as here we had reached that why became the president. He was participating for the Conservative Party, but he did some reforms. He did something which people did not like. For example, he did not oppose the nuclear water released in sea, the nuclear water released in the sea. He did not oppose it, that he did not oppose it, that and it was very much disastrous for the environment there. Second blunder which he did, I'm talking about the President Y, who defeated M. Second blunder what he did, he attended the NATO summit, and South Korea did not like NATO that much, so that is why the general public statements were not him. Third, he went to Ukraine, and it what it did, it downgraded their relationship with Russia. So people did not like it, and he always confronted, he wanted to confront the North Korea, and that people did not want it. So because of these blunders, what people were against him, and he felt that the government is trying to get rid of him because he was spoiling their image. The party was going to trying to get rid of him. So with respect to this, when he saw the opportunity that his political party, the political members, the assembly members are trying to go against him, so he ordered for the presidential martial rule. He ordered for that. But in South Korea, there is one rule that if 192% agree that they don't want the martial rule there, so they can reject it. And they did the same. He tried his best to corrupt this voting in the parliament, but he was not successful in that, and from the outside pressure he failed in doing so, and because of that now this person Y has been impeached. So here it shows how democracy can be powerful, and at the same time how democracy can show its weakness. Here we can see how he became the president, how he used the democracy to become the president, and being at that position, how he tried to mislead the people, to misdirect the country, and try to bring the martial law. But it also showed the power of the democracy, how these 192 members of the country, they came in and they did not allow this to happen. So this is the history of South Korea in a nutshell, why we are discussing this question here. Now here it comes that the political scenario in the South Korea is very different right now. It is on hotbed. We understood it. What is the reason for that? It is the clash between the personalities earlier. Then it is the clash between the political parties there. Then it became the how it became the it was the respect of the political party, how it wanted to perceive with respect to the in front of the people, but how its leader was going against its political views, how its leader was going against its political views, and this all was created, this fuss was created there. So this is the situation in the South Korea in a nutshell. I hope you had understood it. Now it becomes important for us to understand a relationship based question with respect to South Korea. In earlier classes we can frame different types of questions with respect to it. We need what for a UPSC aspirant, what is important for us to understand about it? We need to know about what are the countries bordering South Korea. We formed a question with respect to that in our earlier classes. We need to know what are the rivers, major famous rivers which are flowing through it. What are the famous cities which are in South Korea? We need to know it because it is in the news. We need to know everything about the geography of that particular area. What is the favorite? What is the how their agriculture works? So everything we need to cover in with respect to South Korea if we want to prepare well for our prelims, and also we need to know what is the relationship between India and South Korea. So for that purpose we had brought this question here. Now let's try to answer this question, and we will conclude this topic. The question says, as here we can see that question says, consider the following statements regarding the Indo-South Korea relationship. First statement, cultural exchange between India and South Korea can be traced back to ancient times with historical accounts mentioning the travel of an Indian princess to Korea. 100% correct. We can see that the legends say that princess, namely Hwang Ok, which is believed to have princess who traveled from our to South Korea. So we have some historical connection too. Second statement, so statement 1 is correct with respect to the question. Second statement, South Korea is a key partner in India's active East policy, focusing on enhanced economic and strategic cooperation in the Indo-Pacific. 100% correct. Our concerns are same. We want South Korea to be very much stable. We want them to to balance Japan's, USA, as well as Russia in equilibrium. We have very much interests in that part of the world, so we want South Korea to be very much balanced. So statement 2 is also correct. Third statement, both countries have overlapping interests in addressing challenges related to maritime security, climate change, and regional stability in Asia. 100% correct. Our challenge is China is one of the major challenges for us. Both countries, China is a challenge for both of the countries, so we have overlapping interests in addressing challenges related to maritime security, climate change, and regional stability. So with respect to this question, the correct statement is option D. All the three statements are correct. So I hope while discussing this question, I hope you had got the basic understanding about the political condition. What was the political condition? What is the political condition right now in South Korea? A question may, if you reach to the interviews, you may be asked a question related to that. You need to know what is happening there. What was the whole situation about, and about these particular names you can Google them. They are very hard to remember, but I can give you their pet names. By M I mean moon, and by Y I mean Yoon. These are some of their pet, part of their names. So these things are very much important for you to remember. So I hope you had understood it very properly. Now with this, let us shift our approach to the another topic of today's discussion. Let us see what does that say. Here the question we had brought about is the never events. Let us see what does the question say. Question says, which of the following conditions or events are classified as never events in healthcare? These never events, even though with respect to Indian medicine, we don't find these never events in any medical terminology with respect to Indian healthcare system. But with respect to never events, what is most near term which we use medical negligence, and legal framework. We need medical negligence and legal framework, which is very close to the never events which are used in USA and other Western countries. So here question talks about what are these never events. Why we had brought this question? Because there was a proper article in the newspaper today which discussed that this never event, it should be introduced in the healthcare system in India, because in India we are very much in the, for example, the term which we use, which is very near to it, is medical negligence legal framework. But the problem with this term is, the problem with medical negligence and legal framework is that it does not divide. In fact, it includes both negligence and complication. It contains both negligence and complication. And with respect to the here the article says that there should be a proper divide between negligence and complications. So this never event, it is mostly associated with the negligence from the doctor's side, negligence from the staff side. For example, wrong side surgery is there, it is a negligence, it is not a complication. And here we had brought in statement, development of pressure ulcers, it is a complication. So there is a proper definition, there is a proper difference between negligence and complications. And because of this confusion, we had often heard that in our hospitals doctors are getting beaten because the patients don't understand what are the negligence, what is the difference between negligence and complications? Patient's health can deteriorate because of the complications. Maybe the patient is suffering from some internal disease, and if which is unknown to the doctors, and doctors are operating for something different, and they are very much focused on particular disease, and any medicine when they give to that patient without knowing that that patient was suffering from any something different disease which can have detrimental impact on patient's health, the patient dies. And it is not because of the negligence, it is because of the complications. There are various complications can happen. For example, bed sores, for example, different problems associated with. For example, you operate any patient and his health does deteriorate, he gets the high fever and all that stuff. These are complications. So we need to get a proper definition between negligence and complication. So with respect this argument was talking about that we should include this never event term in our healthcare system too, as it is involved, as it has been included in the Western country. So let's try to understand what these never events are. These are unacceptable failures in implementing patient safety protocols. These are unacceptable failures in implementing patient safety protocol. For example, you know certain breaches which happen in healthcare due to human errors. For example, sometimes a doctor is operating and the towel, when he's operating the patient, and he forgets something in the body, something artificial in the body of the patient. So there are various negligences which can happen. So according to the author of this article, he wants that this never event should be included, and these never events are much related to the negligence than the complication. These are much related to negligence. So this should be there. As in our India right now, we have the term which is medical negligence legal framework, which does not differentiate between negligence and complications. This proper definition should be there for the safety of doctors, for the safety of the patients. So I hope you had understood it very well. Now let's solve this question and get more idea about it. Here the question says, which of the following conditions or events are classified as never events in healthcare? First, surgery performed on the wrong body part, 100% never event, it is the negligence. Second, unintended retention of a foreign body after surgery, 100% it is also a never event, it is also negligence. Third, development of pressure ulcers, bed sores stage 3 and 4 after admission to a healthcare facility. This can be given as negligence, and it can be given as complication also. But as here it is because of the external environment, so we will add it as to never event also. So first statement is never event, second statement is never event, third statement is never event. Fourth, medication error that results in minor patient discomfort. So this is the medication error. Here it is complication. We can say it is a complication. It can't be it can't be given as a negligence. It can't be taken as a negligence, because patients have different immune system, they have different immunity. So with respect to this question, the correct statement would be statement 1, statement 2 and statement 3. These events are classified as never events. So with this, I hope you had understood it. With this, I hope you had got the basic idea about it. About one more thing which I want to add about the never events. Never events, it mostly, you need to know this point, and because you may ask me, sir, earlier you were saying that bed sores are complications, why you are adding it in never events? But dear students, remember one thing about this here, that never events are mostly those events which are caused due to negligence. But sometimes, complications, minor complications which have the slight flavor of negligence in them. Bed sores, for bed sores, a patient needs to be shifted, his sides need to be shifted after a few minutes, after a few hours. That can be caused due to negligence, a slight negligence. So in the never event, we also add some complications too, but those complications are well mixed with negligence. For example, if any complication in which there is much flavor of negligence, then such complications are added in the never events. That is, you need to know about it. So with respect to this question, the correct statement is option B. I hope you had understood it, and I also hope you had understood the question. Now with this, let's move to the another question and try to do that. Here the question is about which of the following statements regarding polar sundials are correct. Why we had brought this question? Because Earlier the sundials which we have, sundials which we have, they were able to predict the time but not accurately. But ISRO has developed this solar sundial, the polar sundial, which is a polar sundial in fact, which will give us the accurate movement of sun around the earth, and also which will tell us not only the time but also the date correctly. So this is the news behind it. Now with respect to this, it is very complicated topic itself. You need to know few points about that. Here the first statement: a polar sundial genomenon, the part of the cast that casts the shadow, is aligned parallel to the earth's axis of the rotation. This is correct. You need to know about this. It is aligned the a polar sundial's genomenon, which is the part that casts the shadow, is aligned parallel to the earth's axis. 100% correct. Second statement: polar sundials are designed to be accurate only at equators. Here you need to know one thing, that it is an extreme statement, and majority of the times such statements are incorrect, and so is the case with here. The polar sundials are designed to be accurate not only at equators but also at the poles. So this statement is incorrect. Third statement: the hour lines on a polar sundial are evenly placed. 100% correct. Nothing wrong with this statement too. Fourth statement: polar sundials can indicate solar time throughout the entire year at any latitude. No, there are some, and not throughout the year, because there are at the poles especially, there are times when the sun won't set and there are times when sun won't rise. So there are some limitations to this. So with respect to this question, the statement 4 is also incorrect. So with respect to this question, the correct statements are statement 1 and statement 3 only. So with this, I hope you had got the basic idea about these sundials. What they do, they give us the time, but it was not usually correct. They give us the estimated time, but ISRO has developed few sundials like polar sundials, which give us the accurate time, and also they give us the date. So with this, let us move to the another question and try to solve it. Here the question is about the term lexicon. Most accurately refers to, it is the vocabulary based. Why we had brought this question, because the Canada lexicon work yet to turn the page. About lexicon, what, let's try to solve this question here. It is the vocabulary of a person, language, or a branch of knowledge. So every language has a lexicon, for example a dictionary, and that needs to be updated. For example, we have English dictionary, and every year or after some time that dictionary is being updated, few words are added. So is the case with different languages. So in this context, there we have the Kannada language that also have this lexicon. But unfortunately, it was last time updated in 2001, and after 2001 it has never been updated. And the authority which was responsible for the updation of the Kannada language which was made at that time, was in 1975. It was made. It was Kannada. It was Sahitya Kannada Sahitya Parishat. Parishat. It was Kannada Sahitya Parishat. It was formed in 1975. It was responsible for updating the Kannada lexicon. But in 2001, when all of the then members of the Kannada Sahitya Parishat, they retired, it was not formed again. And since 2001, it has not been updated. And when it was asked to the legislative assembly of to the government of the Karnataka, when it was told them to update it, they did not agree, because they said that 10 crore rupees, they have to spend 10 crore rupees on its updation, and they are not ready to do so, because they believe that this much is huge cost, which was something absurd statement from them. And also the major issue in that part of our country is of the language. So this was very irony that they are not ready to spend 10 crore rupees on updation of the Kannada literature, Kannada lexicon. So this is the news, and this is what we need to know. This is very foreign term for many students, and they need to know what this is. The term lexicon most accurately refers to the vocabulary of a person, language, or branch of knowledge. So with respect to this question, the correct statement is option B. So with this, let's go to the last part of today's discussion with respect to the current affairs. It is about the uh, Ekalaya model residential schools. The question says consider the following statements with respect to the Ekalaya model residential schools. Why it is in news? Because the Ekalaya schools struggle to meet 5% PVTG subquota developed, and also dropout rate is very high with respect to this. About here we need to know few terms. For example, earlier first we need to know what are these PVTGs. These are particularly vulnerable tribal groups. When it came into existence, it was 1973 when the Boer Committee created the primitive tribal groups, PTGs. And in 2006 they were given the status of particularly vulnerable tribal groups. They are the part of the scheduled tribes. They are the most primitive groups. They are the most vulnerable groups in the scheduled castes. So here with respect to Ekalaya model residential schools, the government then introduced this school for STs. And in these schools the limit for STs was set by the government 50%. That 50% should be reservation should be for the ST students. And also in this 50%, the 5% should be of the PVTGs. In this 50% reservation for the scheduled tribes, the 5% should be for the particularly vulnerable tribal groups. But here the article says that these schools, it has seen that it was a survey was done, and it has been found that even these particular vulnerable tribal groups, they are not even found. They had not reached that threshold. These EMR schools, they are not able to give this reservation to these tribal groups, these PVTGs. And it is said that they had not came up to the mark. Even if we look at the presentation, if we look at their presence in the school, it is not it is not reaching the 5% mark. So they are way below the 5% mark. And also it has been found that the dropout rate from these schools is rising day by day. So these are some various issues with respect to Ekalaya model residential school. So this is in news. This is what was in the news. So with respect to this question, let's try to solve it and get more idea about it. Here, first statement: EMRS, the Ekalaya model residential schools, are established by the Ministry of Tribal Affairs to provide quality education to scheduled tribe students in remote areas. 100% correct, nothing wrong with the statement. Statement 2: the scheme mandates that at least 50% of the students admitted in each EMR should be from the scheduled tribes. 100% correct, with priority given to particular vulnerable tribal groups, and they should contain 5% of the 5% for their reservation. Among the 50% for the scheduled tribes, the 5% should be belonging to particularly vulnerable tribal groups. Third statements: EMRs are fully funded by the central government. No, they are not fully funded by the central government. State governments do also play a role in that. So this statement is incorrect. Statement 3 is incorrect. Statement 4: the EMR scheme aims to provide education from class 6 to 12 with a focus on holistic development, including academic supports and cultural activities. 100% correct, nothing wrong with the statement. So with respect to this question, the correct statements are statement 1, statement 2, and statement 4. And from the code given below, the correct code would be option A. So with this, I hope with this we complete today's discussion with respect to current affairs. I hope every topic was very much clear. I was able to clearly explain every question here properly, and I was able to deliver the basic context behind the question. Now with this, let us shift our approach to the another part of our discussion, where we will first solve the previous year question. Then after that we will solve the static part. Here the previous year question which we had brought today is: in 1920, which of the following changed its name to Swaraj Sabha? Which of the following changed it? It was All India Home Rule League. When in 1920 the Mahatma Gandhi became its president, and and because of him the name was changed to Swarajya Sabha. So the correct statement to this question is option A. So with this, I hope we had understood this question also. Now with this, let's move to the another question, the last question of today's discussion, where we will discuss this static. Here today's static topic question is based on Article 47 of the Indian Constitution. As right now we are discussing DPSPs, let us see what does the first statement say, and by solving this question we will understand about it. Article 47 falls under Part 4 of the Indian Constitution dealing with directive principles of state policy. 100% correct, nothing wrong with this statement. Statement 2, Article 47 directs the state to raise the level of nutrition and standard of living of its people and to improve public health. 100% correct. This is what it says. It directed the state to raise the level of nutrition and the standard of living for its people. Then third statement also says Article 47 makes the consumption of intoxicating drinks and drugs which are injurious to health a fundamental duty of citizen. No, totally incorrect. It enables states to prohibit the consumption of intoxicating drinks and drugs. So with respect to this question, this third statement is incorrect because it is a fundamental duty. It is a directive principle that states should try to prohibit the consumption of intoxicating drinks and drugs. Here it says it makes the consumption of intoxicating drugs and drinks which are injurious to health a fundamental duty of every citizen. No, it is totally wrong and absurd statement. In fact, it is the directive principle that states should prohibit the consumption of these drugs and drinks. So coming to the fourth statement, it says while not directly enforceable by the court, Article 47 serves as a guiding principle for state policy and influences legislative and executive actions. 100% correct. Because of this article we had seen many states had brought ban on alcohol. There are bans on alcohol near schools and hospitals. We had seen such acts had been brought by many states, and they get inspiration from this particular article. And also we had seen how governments are helping its how state governments are helping its people in giving ration to them. So many such things had been inspired by the states from this particular article. So with respect to this question, the correct statement is statement 1, statement 2 and statement 4, and from the code given below the correct code would be option A. So with this we complete today's discussion. I hope you would like the video. I hope you would share it with your friends. I definitely hope you would subscribe the channel, and I hope you would do best in your life. Good luck, have a great day, have a great year. I hope you succeed in every exam. Thank you for staying with me. Thank you very much. Have a nice